The morning rush at Greenwood Station was always the same, people hurrying to catch their trains, the loud hum of announcements, and the clatter of footsteps. But amid this chaos, one sight remained unchanged. A small cat sat patiently near platform 3, his golden eyes fixed on the arriving trains. The station workers had noticed him for months, but no one knew why he waited. Until one day, a man named Paul decided to uncover the heartbreaking truth. Paul had worked as a janitor at Greenwood Station for over 10 years. He had seen all kinds of commuters, businessmen glued to their phones, students with their heavy backpacks, elderly travelers holding on to their memories. But this cat? He was different. Every morning, as the first train pulled in, the cat sat in the same spot, tail curled around his paws, eyes filled with silent longing. At first, people ignored him. A stray cat at a busy station wasn't unusual. But as weeks turned into months, Paul realized something strange. No matter how bad the weather was, the cat never missed a single day. Whether it was pouring rain, freezing cold, or scorching heat, he remained there, unmoving, waiting. The workers had even named him Whiskers. Some of them would leave scraps of food for him, and he would eat politely but never leave his spot for long. Something was keeping him there. Something that no one understood. One evening, as Paul was locking up, he saw Whiskers still sitting at the platform, staring at the empty tracks. Paul sighed, shaking his head. "What are you waiting for, buddy?" he muttered, kneeling beside the cat. Whiskers flicked his tail but didn't respond. Curiosity got the better of Paul. He asked around, had anyone seen Whiskers with someone before? Had he belonged to a commuter who had stopped coming? An old newspaper vendor, Mr. Harris, finally provided a clue. "You know, a few months back, there used to be a man, a young fellow, always took the morning train from here. And that cat used to follow him everywhere." Paul's heart sank. What happened to him? Mr. Harris hesitated. He didn't come back one day. I heard he had an accident. Never made it home. A lump formed in Paul's throat as he looked at Whiskers, still waiting, still believing his human would return. Determined to find out more, Paul did some digging. He asked the station manager, checked old surveillance footage, and finally, he got his answer. The man's name was Daniel Carter, a 27-year-old teacher who used to take the same train every morning. He had adopted Whiskers as a stray and had formed an unbreakable bond with him. Then, one tragic evening, Daniel had boarded his usual train but never returned home. A car accident had taken his life just a few stations away. No one had told Whiskers. No one could. And so, every morning, Whiskers returned to the only place he had last seen his best friend, waiting, hoping, believing that one day, Daniel would step off the train and scoop him up in his arms again. Paul knew he couldn't let Whiskers suffer any longer. He spent days trying to gain the cat's trust, bringing him food, sitting with him, speaking in gentle tones. But Whiskers refused to leave his spot. Then, one stormy night, as the rain lashed against the platform, Paul found Whiskers curled up in the cold, drenched and shivering. That was the moment he decided, he couldn't let the cat wait forever. Paul took off his jacket and carefully wrapped Whiskers in it. The cat resisted at first, but he was too weak to fight. Paul whispered, "He's not coming back, buddy. But I promise, you won't be alone anymore." For the first time in months, Whiskers was taken away from the station. Away from the place where his heart had been stuck in time. At first, Whiskers struggled to adjust to Paul's home. He would sit by the door, watching, waiting. But slowly, he began to warm up. He started curling up next to Paul while he watched TV, rubbing against his legs when he came home from work. The sadness in his golden eyes never fully disappeared, but there was something new now, acceptance. Months passed, and Greenwood Station felt emptier without its little guardian. But Paul knew he had done the right thing. One day, as he watched Whiskers nap peacefully on the windowsill, he whispered, "Daniel would have wanted this for you." And in that quiet moment, with the sun casting warm golden hues over them, Paul swore he saw a flicker of peace in Whiskers' eyes, as if, finally, he understood, love never dies. Sometimes, it just waits, until someone helps it find its way home.